when I was in sales, the biggest thing that we were taught that resonated with me specifically, if they're in here, they're looking to buy. We just gotta figure out what that reason is and make it make sense. And the reason why I wanted to pull it up, I was looking, God put Adam in the garden when he gave him the instructions. Now how Eve got in there in this particular time, it don't say God put her there. And the serpent, he keeps seeing her floating around, and now she's here. She wants to buy.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Today for Tomorrow podcast. Jumping right into it. I put a message inside of the chat about this particular subject, the first sale in human history, okay? Because I was reading my, as y'all like to say, my favorite book, Genesis. I was in the very beginning, but I was in chapter 3, just kind of breaking down the conversation that happened between Eve and the serpent. And, you know, of course, we've talked about before what happened, everything after that. But I think this applies to our business series because there was a few things that happened in that interaction that pretty much laid the foundation for how sales happen from that point forward, even today. Go ahead.
Real quick, can you explain, why it's your favorite book? Because, I mean, we are familiar with Genesis chapter 3, but not everybody may know off the top of their head. Can you just kind of a brief synopsis of why it's your favorite and then kind of back into the topic again?
So I don't know if I'd say Genesis is my favorite book of the Bible, but I know the first 3 chapters is my favorite to go back to.
Okay.
And the reason is because it sets the purpose for man. And every time I'm going through any other part of the Bible and I'm trying to figure out what it means or how it applies to me, and I go back to Genesis, it always tells me a little bit more about who I am and what I'm here to do. And so Genesis chapter 1, he pretty much lays out the foundation of who God is and then who we are. And then in chapter 2, he kind of outlines it a little bit further, but then we get the first man being introduced to the world. And then in that, it's like so many subtle things that kind of set up the whole rest of the story, how you're made, what you're interested in, what you were supposed to be doing. Mm-hmm. And then woman comes into it. And then chapter 3 is when we kind of get the whole reason for pretty much the rest of it. Because here's the thing, if chapter 3 doesn't happen, Jesus doesn't have to come back. Jesus doesn't have to come here.
Right.
We don't need the whole, we can end the book right then and there.
Yeah, it is no book. It's just, it's just 3 chapters.
And it won't be.
What, 2 chapters?
Yeah.
2 chapters, that's it.
And I think the point you bring in with chapter 3 is people like, okay, why is the world so chaotic? Why is it crazy? Because sin came into the world in chapter 3.
Right. So you go any other book in the Bible, any other chapter in the Bible, and you're having some like, okay, what is this? What is that? Why is that? Go back to the beginning. It might give you a little bit more insight.
Yep.
That's why.
Yeah.
So the first sale. So I'll just real quick, for those who don't know, Genesis chapter 3. Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" For context. So chapter 2, Adam was formed from the dust of the ground, gave the breath of life, he became a living soul. He was put to sleep. Eve was then taken out of the rib of, or we believe it's the rib, the side of man. And then Eve was formed from them. They're put into the garden. Adam is created to cultivate it and to keep it. Now, inside of this garden, there's a little conversation that's happened between Eve and the serpent. Mm-hmm. And so then we get to chapter 3 where the serpent comes up and then asks her this question. Now, if you go back to chapter 2, this is a direct lie. The serpent is coming up and he's giving her false information. He's trying to question exactly what was already told. Now, if we go back a little bit further, we know that God spoke directly to Adam, not to Eve.
Yep.
But it's understood that it had to be communicated to her because of what happens here next. The woman said to the serpent, "We may eat from the trees. We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, You must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die. Now, she added a little bit of her own to that because it didn't say about touching it. But he did say you're going to die if you eat from it. And so then the serpent straight up lies, you will not certainly die. Now, God literally said, you will die. The reason I thought this was going to be this was an interesting subject to kind of talk about is because there were so many things. There's a few things in that, and of course we can go further down the page to kind of get more of an understanding of it. But the way that the serpent came up, the way that he approached the conversation, the way that what happened before she actually bit, before she actually ate of the fruit and gave it to Adam who was with her, we see like some very subtle nuggets, tactics inside of sales that are really used today.
Yeah.
Before I continue, fellas.
It's actually a great description of like a training setting of what we would have in sales. And the reason why is, so this is what I was thinking about as you were talking. And I think it was a conversation we were having before, but what's interesting, when I was in sales, I've been in sales in many different capacities, but in one particular capacity, we were selling cell phones. And the biggest thing that we were taught that resonated with me specifically, if they're in here, they're looking to buy.
Yeah.
We're at the cell phone shop. We're not soliciting at their house. If they're here, they came here for a reason. We just got to figure out what that reason is and make it make sense. And the reason why I wanted to pull it up, I was looking, because I'm like, let me just double check. God put Adam in the garden when he gave him the instructions. Now, how Eve got in there in this particular time, it don't say God put her there. So she was there. So, and the reason why this is important, if she's here and the serpent, he keeps seeing her floating around and now she's here, she wants to buy. When you're the art of selling, anytime you can give somebody or present something that they already truly want, you're really just removing obstacles for them and barriers for them to actually make that decision. But it's not a true sale in the sense, I'm trying to convince you to do something that you don't want to already do. What I'm trying to do is remove barriers so that the deal makes sense for you.
You two got history in sales and marketing, and I love the perspective because never really thought about it like that, but it makes total sense because, you know, that urge or that question, the Bible don't tell us, but there had to be like a desire or a thought to do this. And for the record too, Adam was right there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, so we can talk about it another day. Adam didn't step up and do what he's supposed to do. But the point
That's
though is
a lot of people like to ask, was Adam there? Yes, he was.
He was there. He was there. But it made me think about when you talk about sales again. This is you guys will know this too. Women influence most sales. Okay? And when you think about, and you guys can tell me if I'm right or wrong, because I see it just real life. When me and my wife go somewhere, a furniture store, God forbid we go to a car dealership or something like that, or a jewelry store.
He said, God
God
forbid.
But if we walk into a furniture store, it's like they talking to her.
If they're smart.
If they smart, but most of them aren't. And they talking to her. They ain't even talking to me. They talking to her all the way. Now they can understand. She'll defer and say, "Oh well, you know, I don't know if we got enough of that. Rodney had to, figure that out or whatever." But they still talking to her. So when we talk about Eve, and this is going back, women have always had a big influence on what we buy.
Yeah. No, definitely. And I let's just answer the question right here. She had to be in there. She had to be thinking about it because it said, when the woman saw the fruit of the tree, that it was good for food and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some, ate it. She also gave some to her husband who was with her. Now, I didn't put it in the Bible. I need y'all to go to Genesis 3, chapter 6. It says it right there.
It does. was.
She also gave something to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. So, unlike what you were saying, it's like, she obviously was close to it. I mean, how you gonna eat it if you're not standing with it, right?
She in the store.
She in the store.
And you know what though? But this is a perfect example of we gotta really fact check and break down the word, because I've heard people that call themselves, like, I'm not gonna say they were pastors, but they were very, knowledgeable according to themselves in theology. And they're like, we don't know if Adam was there. I'm like, no, we do. It says it in the word. And now we have phones, we can pull it up. Back in the day, this has been a 6-week long conversation at the barbershop. Every time we come in, we'd just be, no, I don't know, I don't think he was there. Yes, he was there, bro. Now we can pull it up.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was, I like where you were going with the art of sales. Once again, we're with our wives, in these different dealerships, mall, whatever. 8 times out of 10, whose idea was it to go to the mall?
Uh-oh.
I don't want to stereotype, but I mean, historically, it's the women, right?
Yeah.
They're bringing us to the place to purchase. For some reason, I don't know, the women chime in. Some women, they love shopping for things. Usually, a lot of women do. Not all women. Not all. I ain't gonna say every woman, but I have 3 sisters. A lot of women love shopping for things. So the other part of the sale is when we do put ourselves in an environment, that's like the courting stage. Mm-hmm. we're working up to something, right? Mm-hmm. We talk about cars. You usually go to the dealership, talking about the numbers. What's the number one thing they want you to do in order to try to help seal the deal?
Oh, how much you want to pay a month?
How much you want to pay, but what do they tell you to go ahead and do?
Oh, they want you to drive it.
Go ahead, test
drive it. Mm-hmm.
Because they know if they can get you to test drive it, now it's real, and now everything changes. So going back to the example of Eve, the serpent, and Adam, because he was right there.
Adam.
He was there. He was there.
He said, go ahead,
give it a shot.
Yeah, you surely won't die. That's basically like, hey, take it for a test drive.
Mm-hmm.
Did he say you was gonna die, or And she like, this is the art of sales. Mm-hmm. You got to get people to go through the thought. You can see them thinking. I used to do it all the time. I'm watching them go down the scenario of, let me add that up.
Okay.
Maybe I can just not eat for a couple days.
They try
to and I'm like, I got them. They getting there. It's a matter of time.
Yeah. Oh, I think, so principle here. One thing, sales ultimately, a lot of sales, I would say, I can't say all of them, but a lot of sales happen to get out of some sort of pain, right? And so the crazy thing about this particular situation is they had everything. They were living in abundance. Yeah. But again, we're talking about sales principles here. He created the pain in the inside of the situation. She didn't even realize. She was just completely oblivious to it until he said, well, for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened and you'll be like God, knowing good and evil. He said that. Eve is like, oh, well, what in the world? Mm-hmm. Oh, I could be like, well, that sounds good. I know God is really awesome. I've seen him a couple times around here. And knowledge of good and evil, I don't know about that evil part, but it sounds interesting. Well, shoot, let me start thinking about this thing. And then she started looking. She get the test drive. Mm-hmm. Well, it looks desirable. Mm-hmm. It might help out. Well, Adam, have we considered this option here?
And see, the thing, as you kind of walk through that, what he did, he being the devil, the serpent did, was make Eve think that God was holding something back from her.
Exactly.
And so when we talk about that, it's like, talk about sales again, and the cell phones fall right into this too. It's like, that new phone got more than my old phone. I'm missing out. Mm-hmm. I'm missing out on, man, the next pro, whatever. Yeah. I'm missing out on having the best camera, in the world. You got to have that. So Eve, you missing out. I mean, God don't want you to know what He know. You missing out on what's the next. And God don't want you. He's trying to hold you back from that. Don't let Him hold you back from that. And sometimes that still you thinking like, and this happens. People like, they get it because they want to show I got it, I made it, I arrived. You know what I'm saying? And if you plug into that motivates.
Yeah. And the crazy thing about, what I think is also an interesting principle here, if we're talking about like because obviously like what Mike was saying, if you in the store, you shopping, you're thinking about something. It's in there already. We're just trying to draw that thing out.
Yep. And
it often happens not by the person who's telling you, hey, buy this. This is the best. We're the best. We're number one in the country. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. No. The sale happens when you come to the conclusion on your own. The prospect, that is. If I can ask you a question, if I can have a conversation with you, which makes you come to the conclusion that this is the best decision, that's when you're going to buy. You're not going to buy because I'm telling you, you need to do this. This is the best decision for you. It's going to make you healthier, faster, stronger, smarter. It's going to make you live longer and all this other stuff. All that stuff might be great and it might be true, but I don't believe you. I don't believe you. But when I see it, when it looks desirable to the eye, when that gap is created, because here's the subtlety of it. Because the lack wasn't there, He created it. And so it was a situation where now we're starting to see a difference between where she is and where she might want to be. I want to be like God. I want to have this knowledge of good and evil. That sounds like something good. This wasn't there until He asked the question, which created the gap. That gap is where sales happen. Every time in a sales kind of situation, I want to figure out where you are. I want to figure out what pain you're in. I want to dig into that. Unfortunately, look, let's be real here. I want to dig into that. I'm like, let's talk about this. If we're talking about, for what I do, advertising, let's talk about where you're at. What kind of sales are you getting? What's your marketing channels right now? What kind of leads are you getting? Are you getting, what kind of exposure is actually coming from the marketing that you think that you're doing? And what is that causing? Are you able to do the things that you want to do? What do you want to do? Let's talk about that too. I got to figure out, okay, so wait, now you're having issues growing the business because you don't actually have a channel to where you can get leads consistently. Now you've got fluctuations in your pay. You said you wanted to grow your team, but of course you don't have the customers to do that. And you told me that your goal was to open up multiple locations. Now I have a gap. Now I'm going to put my solution as the answer, the bridge between where you are and where you want to be.
And the reason why we're making a point to call out Adam specifically is because we got to tell the whole story. A lot barbershop conversation, a lot of men are quick to say, well, Eve bit that apple. But Adam was right there. And it goes back to what you were laying out with Genesis. The reason why it's such a great book is because it lays out the blueprint. If you know the ending address you're trying to get in, you can put that into the GPS and it'll spit out so many directions. If you follow the directions, you're gonna get to your destination. If you go left when you should have went right, you make a U-turn when it tells you to go straight, you're gonna get a different destination. This is where free will comes in. And the thing about this situation is Eve wasn't given the instruction directly from God. So in this equation, Adam, in the authority of God, having heard the instructions directly, he should have been the one to say, you know what, let's go to the mall situation. The wife brought us to the mall. Now we here. This red flag number one.
Tree is right there.
All husbands know this is a dangerous situation, potentially dangerous. We here. We got to be on full alert. Now, when she starts coming with crazy numbers, it's like, well, hold on. We know what the situation is. We know what our budget is. You talking about buying the TV.
Oh, man.
Then we got to get the entertainment set. Then, we got to go look at the clothes. Like,
surround sound.
Whoa.
Yeah, surround sound.
Somebody got to bring some clarity to the situation. We can't just stand by and let this go down because guess what? We're going to have to deal with the consequences.
Yes.
And this is the reason why I want to make sure it was crystal clear for the brothers watching and the women. Everybody got to consider everybody because we're all affected. We all connected. You know, we talking about man and wife, but we also talking about brothers and sisters.
Yeah.
Of Christ.
No, you're right, and I'm glad you laid it out because it do all fit together, and it shows. And we just use the sale piece again. The purchase has to be made, right? The desire and all that stuff can be there. The want to get it can be there. But Eve, it bit the fruit, gave to Adam. He ate as well. Adam, in my mind, completed the purchase.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He checked it out.
So yeah.
Well, literally, let's just scroll down just a little bit more.
Yeah.
God didn't, when Eve ate, he didn't stop and say, hey, what's going on down there? No. As soon as he did, that's when God stepped in.
Exactly. And so going, like what Mike's talking about, that whole, hey, we need TV, we need this and that and all that. Not all households, every household different. But when husband and wife are kind of on one accord, they're working together on the purchases. It's an agreement, understanding, and it's the structure. And most of the time, hey, the man's more maybe disciplined in certain areas, where the woman might be more disciplined in other areas. And if it's that situation where, hey, wait a minute, we can't really buy this right now because money, we need to do this, and this, and the man got to make a decision. And look, most married men, we've all done this at some point in time when we made a purchase that we really didn't necessarily probably should have made. Okay.
Hopefully it didn't cost all of humanity.
Yeah, exactly. And Adam made a purchase that he really shouldn't have made. And I know I've done it in the past.
He couldn't afford it either.
And where I'm like, man, why did I do this? And then me and the wife talking, I'm like, look, we got to pay this bill. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And it goes back to just being a certain type of human and a certain type of man, specifically where we got to be accountable for our actions.
Yeah.
Because soon after, they start pointing the fingers. Hey, this woman that you put down here.
That you put down.
And it's like, hold on, bro. You talking about your wife? Like, nah, but this is how it happens, though. One decision leads to another. Once the consequences come out, now all of a sudden people want to, save face. They want to blame, shift, and point fingers. And we start, we had a conversation on another, I don't know if this is a podcast or just a real conversation, but we talked about the enmity between man and woman, where, it becomes that confusion. But it all goes back to these early decisions. It is not the actual, just her biting the apple. It's everything that the parameters that led up to it, and then her finalizing the deal, and then Adam doing the same thing. And that's what shaped the rest of humanity.
I mean, we get into that point, but this is good. It was a podcast, Mike. That was
that the podcast? Okay.
Yeah, Martell, he was traveling on that one. But you guys probably see it. Go back and look at that one too.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah. So look, we stayed in this lane, which I think is good about Adam and Eve staying true to Genesis. But let's break out of that for a minute as we kind of get ready to kind of close to say, okay, what's been laid out here is really the map for any sale. And what are the do's and don'ts, or the things that we need to be careful about? Because we don't want to buy the wrong thing. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to make the wrong purchase, because Adam and Eve, that ushers sin in. So what's your advice?
Well, let's make it contextual, because there might be somebody out there who's like, well, I'm not in a sales position, or I don't own a business, so this doesn't apply to me. But essentially, if you're in a relationship with any human being, you are in a sales situation in some sort of context. Like if you're trying to convince your child to stop eating this food, if you're trying to convince your wife that y'all should go here instead of there for vacation, if you're at your job and you're trying to talk to your boss about that raise and they just don't want to give it to you, that's a sale. That's a sales situation. And the same principles apply. So I would say, in wrapping this thing up, one thing that we didn't talk about too much is just the fact that the sale, part of what Mike was saying. The actual transaction is the very last thing. The sale starts way before that. The selling process starts way before that. And there's a lot of things that happen in between that allow you to sell without selling, sell without talking about it, pushing somebody, being pressure with, or being high pressure salesperson or anything like that. And when we're talking about like the online space, if you do have a business or if you are trying to get that promotion, it's the track record that comes before it. And again, we're taking a little bit out of it just so we have the principles here. If I can show you the proof, if you can see the proof before I come and have that conversation, you're already, this inch of the sale is already done for me. I don't need to say anything about it. It's already been proven. If you've got my track record, if you know about my brand, my credibility, therefore the sale is already happening beforehand. And if I can get you to already experience the thing before I even say anything, I don't need to go through all the features and everything. If you already have come to the conclusion in your mind that this is the thing for you, then again, the sale is already happening. I have not said a word yet. When we get into the actual sales situation where we're having the conversation, all I'm doing is, like he said, I'm removing the barriers. Oh man, you know what, you're right. I think that would help you out. Actually, now that you mentioned that, let me just go ahead and outline. We have this might be perfect for exactly that vacation that you're trying to have. Or you know what, boss, I think you make a lot of sense. I have put in a lot of work. Yeah. You know what, I have been doing a whole lot here. You said there's a position open and my qualifications. Wait, tell me again, what was it that, you know what, you think that would be the position for me? The sale has happened.
Yeah. No.
Be the bridge. Be the bridge. There has to be a starting point. There has to be a situation that they're in and a desired outcome. If you can make sure that you are that bridge without being pushy, sale is going to happen.
Just be clear about your original vision, and how the items back into what you came into the store for or what your purpose was in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And it ties into just real life. We're talking, because this is a part of the business series. So all the principles correlate to everything though. It's work, it's sales, it's real life, it's Adam, it's Eve, it's us. So that's the biggest thing I want people to understand, that the principles in the word are applicable to many, many different, every situation in life. We just got to study enough and get creative enough and seek wise counsel enough to understand how all the principles lead back and can help us dictate our moves going forward.
That's crazy. They didn't know that the Bible was also a sales book.
Mm-hmm. No,
they didn't know that. They didn't know that until today.
No. Hey, and look, Satan trying to sell you something all the time.
All the time.
100%.
Yeah. All right, well, hey, I think we're at that point.
People, thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Today for Tomorrow podcast. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I don't know what you're waiting on. Today is the day. Go ahead and do it right now, because I know if you can see my face, then the button ain't that far from you. Press the subscribe button, and we'd appreciate that you did. A few housekeeping items. Fellas, Mike, you want to take us out? Take us in there?
Yes, sir. So we have a company, a partner of mine named Evan, both real estate developers, both family men, and we're just lovers of Detroit, man. And so this is one of the shirts we offer called A Tribe Called Detroit. And you can come check out some more of the merch at blockdetroit.com. That's BLCK Detroit.com. And it stands for Building Legacy, Cultivating Knowledge.
Hey, I want to invite you out to come check out Man 2.0. Second Saturday every month. That's 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. at 28202 Franklin Road in Southfield, Michigan at the Freedom Center. Come check us out, understand what we do. And actually, hey, this conversation's deep, but when you come in there, you understand as a man how we was made by God to do what God called us to do and to find our true identity in him. So, hey, come check us out.
Definitely. Thank y'all for tuning in. And with that, we'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
Peace.